Okay, we'd like to call to order a public hearing on the 2025-26 budget. And Danny Roberts, our city manager, is going to be telling us what's going on, and we'll go from there. You're on, Danny.
Thank you, Mayor. Evening, Mayor and Council. Before you is the fiscal year 26 budget. I will refer to this as fiscal year 26, so don't get confused with fiscal year 25. We're currently in fiscal year 25, so this is the fiscal year 26 budget that will take effect July 1 of this year till June 30th of 2026. Start off, we got a presentation here. I don't know if I can get any closer. You'll turn me up. This is online on the city's website. That's what we're pulling it from tonight, so we'll just go through it. I'm going to go pretty quick. It's been on the website now since, I believe, June the 1st. So any questions, we'll have a public hearing. You can stop. If you have questions, y'all can stop me during the middle of it. But after I present it, we'll open up to questions to the public, and then we'll answer those questions. So we'll start with page 5. Those are just table of contents. You can go through it as you'd like. So this is a brand new platform that we purchased in fiscal year 25 of last year. It went into effect July 1 of 2024. We started using it. We started importing data last year. It was about a year process to migrate all the numbers into what's called ClearGov. This is a platform that a lot of cities and counties around us use. It's a budget software. That's all they do. This does not replace the accounting software that we use with Tyler, but Tyler, ClearGov, they do communicate. So once approved from you all, we will input it from ClearGov to Tyler, and it'll be the new budget. So with that, like I said, it took us about 9 months to put everything you see in this book. This 300 was manually entered by staff. So it was a very large undertaking. But enough of that. We'll start with the general fund on page 5. The proposed fiscal year 26 budget is $17,229,500. That is an increase of 4.396% over fiscal year 25. Water and sewer budget, we have at $11,045,896, which represents 11.137% increase. Mainly that is due because the rates were increased in fiscal year 25. The solid waste or the sanitation fund is at $3,203,200. That's an increase of 9.25. We did have commercial rates went up per the contract this past January. But all of that's just from growth of increasing the budget. The SPLOST, we'll talk about that later, but we do have 4 SPLOST. 2 are currently collecting, 2 our time has expired, but we still have funds, so we have to account for all the SPLOST that we've collected. The citywide M&O maintenance operation budget for the city of Loganville, $58,692,063. That's all the funds combined citywide. Any questions so far? Okay, so we'll get into that. That is the introduction letter that I wrote to you all. That can be found on page 5, like I said. We do have demographics in here if people want to see that. This is a proprietary system to ClearGov. They start with demographics. This comes straight from the Census Bureau. This is where they import this data. So this was all done by ClearGov. All right, Kyle, I'm on page 18. So a lot of these headlines you see, like we're about to be in basics of budget. So we're trying to get a award for budget presentation, and part of that award is you got to hit these criteria. There's a list of criteria that we have to meet, and this is what we did. In order to meet that, we'll apply for that award. Hopefully we'll get it. It's the, what's the award, GFOA, Natalie, award? I don't believe so. I believe you just submit the budget. Does it cost money? I believe it's free. Oh, no. It's just a little feather in your cap. But they have criteria in order you have to put in the budget. And basically what I've gathered from that is you got to take something that's complex and make it simple that anybody can read it and understand it. That was the challenge that we had, was taking it, you do it so many years, but you have to make it where somebody that has no idea can actually read this and understand it. And that was our goal. So in the basics of budget, there's a couple things I want to point out. You'll see the CIP, which is the capital improvement plan. We have capital improvement plans and we have capital improvement projects. Plans, not plans. Items or project. A project is like a water line. An item would be a truck. So there's two different things. So that's why we kind of have those two separate. And they can be found on page 18. I can't scroll, Kyle. You may have to scroll up. And it's right there. The city defines the CIP project as a major non-recurring expense. That's for the, typically it's over $100,000, and then the item is like an equipment that would be typically over $20,000. That's what we consider to depreciate value. The next is the fund structure, and it is small in print, but that's just the way it's default. We couldn't make it any larger. This is largest we can make it. But the fund structure for the city of Loganville, you got government funds, you got proprietary funds, or what we call business funds, and then you got capital funds, capital improvement, and SPLOS. So that just breaks down the fund. You can see there, general fund, special revenue, capital, and then enterprise. That's the funds of the city. The timeline, this is pretty much when we really started deep diving into the budget. We started in January this year, and we're presenting now, and then we'll ask for adoption June 16th, which is next Monday at 6:30 in this room. Priorities and issue was another criteria we had to meet. It just lays out what our priorities are from staff and issues that we face so the city can understand. Our first main criteria is continued level of service that everybody expects from us. Number two is try to keep staff. If you never hired people in this market, it's extremely difficult to have quality employees. It's hard to find people. We still have positions that have been open for over a year and a half now. It's just extremely hard to hire people. We see that in not only the sewer plant, the water, police officers, fire. It's just hard to hire people. So that was kind of a big goal for us to keep the people here that we have. Third is we got to start spending some money on capital projects. We need to do this to keep the city the best shape it can be. Instead of waiting for something breaks, then replacing it, we try to do it before it happens. The fourth is just, downtown. We've talked about it several times in this room to bring something that people want to downtown to keep people here. That's part of our events. That's just having concerts, stuff for the public to come and do. These are staff priorities and issues, not necessarily yours. Strategic plan, just how we plan. I'm not going to get too much into that, but part of that strategic plan is our goals, and you can see that on page 23. Infrastructure, reduce pump stations, downtown, working with the DDA, continue with GDOT on delivering projects of the one-way, not the one-way, but the truck route for Main Street. Intersections, we're trying to add those intersections, widening the Publix red light intersection. New library, of course. We're trying to keep that paving to 3 miles a year so we can have a feasible and an approachable to repave the entire city within 20 years versus the program was about 50 years before. So we have about 60 road miles, and we're trying to do that 3 miles, if not more. And then, of course, what you just approved last couple of meetings was the rewrite of the zoning. That was kind of our plans for this budget and future budgets. Personnel was another module that was required, but you can see, scroll down, Kyle. We still pretty much, we don't expand our staff. As you'll see, staff is the #1 expense in any budget, and we're currently the same as fiscal year 24. So those 0.5s are for part-timers, because you're wondering how you get a half an employee, that's a part-time. So FTE stands for full-time equivalent. So full-time is 1, part-time is 0.5. So that's why you see some of these have more. But it's pretty much the same as current. Now we're getting into the budget, the citywide operating budget. Now it breaks down by fund. So So this starts on page 26. And it just starts with the revenue. So revenue's first. So as you know, when we do a budget, it doesn't matter what we put on expense, is what we can collect is what your expense has to be. So this is the revenue that we do, what we think we're going to get in revenue, and then we turn around and expense that because we have to, by law, by your charter, adopt a balanced budget. This is a balanced budget. Hey, so as you can see, that's all the funds that we have, starting with general fund, SPOSS, water and sewer, solid waste, ARPA. Even though we've already got the money, we still have to account for it because we still have money. Capital recovery, confiscated assets, and hotel motel. And those percentages what makes it up that 58 million. So 29% of that 58 million is general fund alone. And then it just breaks it down. I'm not going to get into all these because you can see it online, but it just breaks it down for each fund. Okay, I'll go to page 41. 41 starts with the general fund. And there is finance policy in there. There's a glossary, so all that's required. You can look at that. That should be it. So this is the general fund. This is the bulk of the city's fund. This is most of your departments except for your water, sewer, water quality, and stormwater. But everybody else, your police, your fire, administrative, admin, executive, parks, is in the general fund. And as you can see, it's a balanced budget for fiscal year 26, and those different things tells you where we're at. It's important to know, somebody may say fiscal year 25, your blue is actual expense and your green is actual revenue. There's a difference. It's because when this was done in March, when we did the last import, it only shows up to March of fiscal year 25 because we're still in this budget. So you may not have all your revenue or your expenses. That's why this time next year, you'll see that look more like fiscal year 24. Am I going too fast for y'all? Okay. The next page just breaks it down just by different funds. Okay, we are going to page 50. Now we're getting into the expense. So you saw the revenue, now you'll see the expense. So it's the exact same to 17,229,000. I think you were just on it. Go back up. Nope. Nope. Go back up. Other way. There you go, right there. So this breaks it down by department for the general fund. As you can see, that's all the departments that we have, starting with you all, the legislative. Fiscal year 26 is there. Executive, you see the big increase. That's because there's new personnel in that budget, so that's why they increased so much. And then you can see the different departments and the percentage it went up. Some go down. This is because capital projects we did this year may not do next year, so that's why you see that a little bit different.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I read all 360 pages of this, so, but what I want to say is, like right here, we have libraries, 139,238. But on another page, you have it listed as the Uncle Remus for 133,238. Why do we have two different library
That has
funds?
$6,500 in it for building repair and maintenance. So the 133 is the quarterly payment for the year. The extra $6,500 is for building repair and maintenance.
Okay, but we call them two different names, though. One time we call them library, and then we
This
call it
is
the
the
Uncle
way that-
Remus. So the library,
Yeah.
It's all
And so this
about
way
which
Tyler
one.
has it set up under libraries, and somewhere we might have put Uncle Remus.
okay, I just wanted to
But
check.
yeah, it's the 139 is the full budget for the entire library, including the quarterly payments we make,